Now some of you out there might want to work with some depth of field in your images. I put together a little scene here, rather simple, to explain a little bit how you can use depth of field in your images, and to teach you a little bit on how you set this up. You have to think a little bit about what scene you're using depth of field in, because it can be a little overrated depending on how you set it up. It's mostly a good idea to to use it on, like say if you're trying to simulate a close-up with a camera or something like that, then it could add a very good realistic effect to the image. Especially if it's say like small objects or something like that. It's a very good idea to use depth of field, and in fact Lightroom has a very good depth of field renderer inside, so I highly recommend using it. Of course not totally insane, but in a good way. So I set up this little scene here to explain a little bit how this is working. As I work around here, you can see I have a plane with a picture of a garden on, and I have a little plant here, a simple plant with some textures on, and on one of the leaves I planted a small fly on the leaf here, and above here I have an area light to make the fly cast shadow down on the leaf, and I have turned off regular radiosity at the moment, and that's about it. I have moved the camera, as you see up here, to the fly. If I it's like this. Let's show you from above. If I zoom in here, you can see we have the fly here. Now depth of field is controlled by a function or a setting called f-stop in a normal camera as well as in Lightwave. If I bring up the camera panel properties here, I can go to the stereo and depth of field panel here, and I have depth of field. Now if I enable this, I have 4 options. The last 2 I don't use very much, so I will not explain them in this tutorial, but the first 2 is the most important ones for you to know. The first one here is the distance from the camera to the subject that you want to be in focus. So you have to measure out to say approximately how far is it. But Lightroom now have a preview possibility within the viewport, so I'll show you that in a minute. That helps you fast to set up depth of field. The f-stop option here is what I'm talking about to control how deep your depth of field is. Now it's working like, say, my fly here is my main subject, and I want that to be in focus. Now if I have a small f-stop value, my depth of field will be like a small circle around this distance from the camera. So everything on this side will go blurry, and everything on this side will go blurry. And the bigger the f-stop value I have, the bigger the focus ring will be out here. So the blurry will start out here or out here instead of down here where I have the low value, like this. Like in Lightroom we have viewport possibility to display actually the depth of field like a preview. It has had that function for years, but it's getting better and better, and in the last few versions here, 9.0 and so on, it has been working really well. If I go to the camera view up here, I have to tell you that depth of field preview is only working from the camera view. You cannot do that inside the perspective or any other view as it is right now. But if I just minimize this, at the moment. This is my scene as you see it now, and what is the camera is looking on. You have to forgive me, English is not my native language, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. It can mess up a little bit, but let's carry on. If I here go to my camera panel and I have turned up depth of field, I can go up here in the viewport and click this little button here and click depth of field / motion blur preview. And right now you see my image goes very blurry. So now I have to tweak the values down here to find out what is the distance from the camera to the fly. So I can start dragging around in this, and I know the fly is a small object, so it's possibly closer than 1 meter to the camera. So I'll drag this down and see what happens in my viewport. And as you see now things start to change, and slightly you see my fly is starting to become in focus. So I'll let that rest right there at the moment, and then as you see the other in front and the back of the fly is very blurry right now, and that is going to be rather disturbing because it's too blurry. So I'll have to rise my f-stop value. So I start putting this up to get the fly in focus and get the rest out of focus. Now you can see if I continue, the background will start to become total sharp as well, like this. So I'll rise this, lower this to say perhaps 20 or 22 or something like that. We'll try 22. And I'll close this panel, and I'll try to click render right now to see what's going on. And Lightwave will now render me an image without anti-aliasing, as it is right now. That's it. That took 9 seconds, 10 seconds, not bad. And as you can see here, the background is rather blurry, and so is some of this down here, but the fly is in focus. And that's kind of the effect we wanna have. The problem right now, as you see it, is all the grains we have here. That's a question about the value of your anti-aliasing. So if I go now, I go down into the camera properties, and I rise this to say 4, and I'm gonna add some adaptive sampling and put this to, I want this to be fine, very fine in the grains, so as less grains as possible. So I'm gonna lower this to 002, and I'm gonna put this oversampling to 1 to help adjust or to smooth out the grains a little further. So I'm going to close this panel up again. I'm going to render, and this of course is going to take a little longer time due to all the anti-aliasing, but in a minute you'll see when it starts rendering, you'll see the anti-aliasing take over, and you'll see all the grainy parts being lighted up by the white parts of the adaptive sampling, which is where you can see where the anti-aliasing is working to smooth out the grains. And you'll see that in a minute now. There you can see all the white parts. That's your adaptive sampling that is smoothing out the anti-aliasing of the grainy parts. And if you don't have adaptive sampling on, you will need a serious amount of passes on the anti-aliasing, and you will still get some grains. So you have to use adaptive sampling also to smooth out the image. But we are about to be ready rendering this image, and you'll see the result of this simple setup. And we're about done. About 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is quite good. Now if I close this, now you can see the fine rendered image is a lot smoother now, and you're getting some more photorealism into the image. I might want to tweak some stuff, raise the value of the lamps to make it a little brighter on the fly and stuff like that. But in general, you get the picture here how the depth of field is working. So I hope you in the future can start using some controlled depth of field in your image to make some more photorealism. And if you got some questions, of course, feel free to email me. And I hope I'll be up with some more tutorials soon. Take care.